On day 1, I spawned in as a baby Cursed Warden. Wait a minute, where the heck am I? I looked around and found myself in some kind of summoning circle. Just then, I noticed a scary hooded figure hovering outside of it.
I am Shoko, the leader of the Cursed Cultists, and I have created you to serve me.
You have what?
Once your curse is fulfilled, I will have an army that will grant me complete power over all of Minecraft.
I didn't like the sound of that. I needed to get out of here. I tried breaking free from my restraints, but it was no good. I was too weak since I only had 5 hearts. I then mustered up all my strength and broke free. Yes, time to get out of here. Shoko realized what I was trying to do and tried to charge at me, but I quickly dodged him and made my way towards the exit. I ran as fast as I could and left Shoko in the dust.
You can run, Cursed Warden, but you can't hide.
On day 2, I can feel this curse changing me. It felt so powerful, but I had to keep going. Since it was my first time above ground, I thought it would be best to use the resources that were around me. I broke down some trees and collected enough wood to craft myself a wooden pickaxe. I then collected some stone and upgraded to stone tools. Because I was cursed, I noticed my hunger depleted twice as fast. Aw man, I need to eat something. I spotted some sheep nearby and snuck up on them. Suddenly, a purple wave emitted from my body, and the sheep were all instantly killed. Whoa, I had a Cursed Warden shout? I then collected the mutton and wool and cooked it. After eating, my hunger was quickly restored. I decided to go to a small cave. You know, as a warden, this would be a perfect spot for a new home. As I was about to enter, I saw an explosion go off in the distance. I wanted to go see what it was, but I should probably build a safe shelter first. I mined my way inside to create rooms for myself. Then I used the sheep wool to make a new bed. Wardens like dark places, so making this place my new home gave me a closer connection to them. On day 3, I made my way towards the explosion. I was in a swamp and saw a cloud of smoke in the air. It was a destroyed witch's hut. An individual was burning it down. The person had on the same colored clothes as Shoko. Could he be working with him? A cat then popped through the hut's window, yelling, out of instinct, I ran over towards the hooded man. Hey, leave him alone. I used my Cursed Warden shout on him, but it was no good. A Warden shout is supposed to be strong.
Well, if it isn't the Cursed Warden, those weak attacks won't work on me.
What do you want from me?
My leader, Shoko, is searching for you. You must obey and come back to fulfill your destiny.
Ah, stay away from me. I used my curse shout again, but it still didn't do anything. The cultist then slowly walked towards me. The black cat then ran up and threw a potion of poison on him. He screamed and started to run away.
Thanks for your help back there. Well, sort of. The name's Midnight. I was living in this witch hut until the cultists showed up. Now I have no home.
I then heard the sounds of footsteps. I told Midnight that he should come with me before more of them showed up. We need to get out of here now. On day 4, Midnight and I finally made it back to base. So, tell me about yourself. Midnight was a black cat that used to be the pet of a witch. One day, the witch abandoned him, and he's lived in that hut ever since.
It was a nice and quiet life until that purple robe guy showed up.
I asked him why the cultist was there, but Midnight didn't know.
I heard that he and his people were looking for a Cursed Warden, which seems to be you.
I guess my hunch was right. He was connected to Shoko. Midnight asked me my name. Call me Fozo. He liked it, and I decided to use my leftover resources to build him a small home next to mine. The cat appreciated my hospitality and wanted to help me out in return for giving him a new home. Would you happen to know where I can learn more about this curse?
Well, if you want to know more about curses or spells, then you should go see Alvis, the wizard.
He told me that Alvis specialized in curses and gave me his location.
It's probably best to gear up a little, though. The journey there is not a safe one.
I thanked Midnight for his help and went off to go look for him. On day 5, I came across a cave and went inside to find better materials. The cave had a good amount of iron. Perfect. Using my stone pickaxe, I mined as much iron as I could and crafted myself a set of iron tools. This will be a lot more useful. I continued mining the iron until I heard a strange noise coming from behind. A spider jumped at me and I quickly dodged it. Hey, what gives? Wait, you're not a regular spider. Are you cursed just like me?
Must obey Shoko, capture the warden!
More cursed spiders showed up, and I knew that I had to fight my way out. A spider jumped at me, and I used my iron sword to take it down. They kept trying to corner me. I continued swinging my sword and mowed down the spiders. One of them managed to get behind me and bit me. Ouch! I got angry and released my curse shout, killing the rest of them. Suddenly, I grew into a full-sized warden and gained 5 more hearts. I also noticed that I had more control over my cursed abilities. Sweet! Time to go find that wizard. I went deep inside of a dark oak forest, but I couldn't find the wizard's tower anywhere. Where could it be? Ow! I ran into what seemed to be an invisible wall. Huh, this isn't ordinary. There was then a large flash, and suddenly a tower appeared in front of me. This must have been Alvis's tower. I went inside, and there was an old man there.
And who might you be, Warden?
Hi, I'm Fozo. I was wondering if you know how to get rid of this curse. A hooded figure named Shoko gave me it. Alvis looked fearful when I mentioned Shoko's name.
I feared he was involved. Shoko is a powerful warlock like no other, who intends on obtaining more power to control the world. If he builds up an army using your curse, he will be unstoppable.
Well, what does the army have to do with me?
I'm not sure, but I know one thing. You must get stronger, Warden. You have no idea how important your actions determine the future of our world. Here, take this.
He then gave me a map to find a magical library. There, I can find more answers to stopping Shoko. On day 7, I began my journey to finding the magical library. Alvis told me that I could find the library at the top of a mountain. I made my way through until I eventually saw it at the top of the highest one. I climbed my way to the top just to be greeted by Shoko's cultists. What could they be doing here?
It's the Cursed Warden! Get him!
The cultists began to surround me, but with my new upgrades, I was prepared to fight them. A cultist came at me and tried to hit me with his sword, but I dodged and took him down with my iron sword. The other cultist charged at me, but then I used my cursed shout against him. This time, my powers were strong enough to defeat them. I then made my way inside of the magical library, and boy, was this huge. I didn't even know if I could find the book that Alvis had mentioned.
Find the floating book, and you will find the answers you seek.
I went inside of a room and found a floating book placed at the center. I hope this is the right one. As I read on, I found out this curse was used to give its owner unlimited power like no other, using the subject. I'm guessing I'm the subject, and Shoko is the owner. I continued reading, and the book said in order to break the curse, I had to defeat the cursor. Great. How am I supposed to defeat Shoko? I read more of the book, and it mentioned 3 cursed items. The first one being the cursed orb. These items would grant the user more power than before. So that's how I beat Shoko, by beating him at his own game. Sweet. I left the magical library and made my way back to base. I continued making my way back when I suddenly felt extremely weak. What is going on? What is happening to me?
That would be me.
I looked up and saw that Shoko was floating over me.
It seems you've gotten stronger since the last time we've met. That's as far as you will go. That is not your purpose.
Then what is it?
Sorry, but I can't spoil the surprise. Many people look down upon magic and sorcery. I will use it to show them how much power one can gain from it. You are the key to my mission. Once your curse is activated, my cursed army will rise, and I will be unstoppable.
Wait, did you just say your cursed army? No! I broke free from Shoko's spell. I then released my cursed shout on him and tried to take him down, but it was no good. Shoko was completely unaffected by it. I charged at him with my iron sword, but the warlock blasted me away. Ouch. This guy's too strong for me. I already lost half of my hearts. Shoko then walked towards me, but I quickly ran off and made a break for my base. On days 9 to 10, I returned completely out of breath. Shoko said his army was going to be unstoppable. I wonder what he meant by that.
What's the matter, Fozo? You look terrified.
I told Midnight about my run-in with him, and he was glad to see that I came back in one piece. He suggested that in the meantime, I should upgrade the base and get my mind off of Shoko for a little while. You're right. I lured some chickens and cows into the base and built a nice farm around them. Then, I made my house bigger since I was now a full-sized warden. That night, I built a campfire, and me and Midnight looked out into the sky. Midnight told me that he was very grateful for all that I've done for him.
All All my life, I felt like an outcast. But thanks to you, I don't anymore.
I completely understand. I mean, look at me. Who would want to be around a Cursed Warden?
I would, Thozo. I would.
Thank you, Midnight. Also, I think I found a way to stop Shoko using the 3 cursed items. First, I need to find the cursed orb.
The cursed orb? Oh, I know exactly where that thing is.
You do? Thanks. I really appreciate it. Midnight pointed me towards the right direction, and I ventured off to find the first cursed item. Midnight told me that the guardian of the cursed orb was located inside of a cursed temple. I walked inside of it and noticed a large figure standing there.
Who goes there?
I introduced myself to the cursed guardian, and he was surprised to see me.
I thought there were just rumors about the Cursed Warden, but it looks like the rumors were true. This world is doomed.
I told him that I didn't want the curse to come true, and I needed his help in making sure that it didn't.
First the cursed spiders, now this?
Wait, you know about the other cursed mobs too? He told me that he did, and no mob really knew what the curse was before it was too late for them. Well, I need to get the cursed orb to help me lift the curse. Can you help me with that?
Before you get the cursed orb, you must first go through a trial.
The guardian said that if I passed this trial, the orb was all mine. Sounds good to me. He told me the location, and I headed off to go complete the trial. On days 13 to 14, I arrived at the location of the cursed orb, and I found myself inside of a course. I could see the cursed orb at the end of the building and wasted no time in beginning the trial. Wow, the cave floor was way below me. I better not fall from here or else I'm pretty sure I'll die. This was not going to be an easy trial. I had to jump carefully across each platform unless I wanted to fall to the bottom. An arrow flew right past me and I saw a group of skeletons were waiting for me on the other side. Not cool, guys. I made my way across and began my assault on the skeletons. I dodged the archer shooting at me and took him down with my iron sword. Another archer tried to shoot at me, but I dodged him and pushed him over the edge. After defeating them, I finally made it to the end and was in front of the cursed orb. I picked it up and it was pretty cool, but it looked kind of scary. Suddenly, I felt a surge of energy within me. I gained 5 more hearts. 1 cursed item down, 3 more to go. I was returning back to the cursed temple when I saw that the temple was on fire. What's going on? I ran inside and saw that the cursed guardian was being attacked by a mob of cursed spiders. Back off! I struck down the attacking spider with my iron sword and stood behind the guardian. What's going on?
Shoko has sent his spiders to get you. I'm doing all I can, but I need your help.
I took on more of the spiders with my sword, but more of them just kept on coming.
Must obey Shoko. Capture the warden.
Wait, that's exactly what the last set of spiders said. We were surrounded, and the guardian believed that all hope was lost.
The cursed orb. Use it.
I listened to the guardian and used the orb. It then sent out a rain of shards, killing all of the spiders. Whoa, this cursed item really is powerful. The guardian thanked me for saving the temple, and I made my way out. Alvis might know more about these items. I should head back and see what he can tell me. On days 17 to 18, I returned to Alvis's tower and spoke with the wizard about the cursed 3 items. I told him that I already found one. I just needed to find the other 2. The wizard was pleased to hear this. I then handed him the book and asked if he knew where the others were.
Give me some time, and I shall be able to at least find the second cursed item for you.
I told Alvis about the cursed spiders.
Seems like they must be hypnotized. Maybe if your curse gets activated, you would be too.
That is a scary thought.
While I'm researching, why don't you go out and collect more materials to shield yourself from harm?
That sounds like a good idea. I left Alvis's tower and wandered out into the world. I journeyed out through the world. Eventually, I came across a cave and went inside to explore. I looked around and spotted some iron. Using my iron pickaxe, I mined a good amount of the material until I had enough to craft myself some armor. I equipped myself with an iron chestplate and a pair of iron boots too. There, that should keep me safe for a little while. I was about to leave the cave when I heard the sounds of groans in the distance. I turned and saw a group of strange-looking zombies running towards me.
Must obey Shoko. Capture warden.
Oh, great. Not you guys too. The zombies began their attack, and one of them managed to hit me. Luckily, my new armor protected me from the blow. I then used my iron sword to take down the zombie, but more came to attack.
Capture warden.
I quickly dodged them and started to realize that the zombies were also under some kind of mind control. I used my curse shout to kill off the rest of them and left the cave. While making my way through the world, a scary thought crossed my mind. Was Shoko going to be able to control my mind too? On days 21 and 23, I was heading back to base when I heard the sounds of screams going off in the distance. That didn't sound good. The screams eventually led me to a village that was being attacked by Shoko's cultists. Please, I don't want to be a cursed freak.
Well, that's too bad.
Hey, leave them alone. The cultists then turned their attention to me and were ready for a fight. I was ready too, and I charged in to slice one with my iron sword. The cultist easily went down, and the others knew not to take me lightly. I tried to take on another one, but he blocked my attack with his shield. Another one then came from behind, and he hit me with his sword. Hey, not fair. I started to get angry and unleashed my cursed shout upon them, instantly killing them. Man, this thing keeps getting stronger by the day. I went over to see if the villagers were okay, but they seemed to be afraid of me. Stay away from us. You're one of those cursed freaks! Get out of our village! The villagers all started to boo and yell at me to leave, and I reluctantly did so. Was I just a monster to these people? All I was trying to do was help. I returned to base and saw Midnight sulking around it. Hey, what's the matter with you?
I'm hungry.
Oh, well, I'll go and cook us some chicken. But Midnight didn't want any chicken, nor cow meat.
Fuzo, as a cat, it's almost a known rule. We gotta eat fish.
Oh, that's right. I'll go and get you some fish then. I went off to a nearby lake. There, I got some fish for Midnight. Once I returned, the cat was happy to eat it. Sheesh. I didn't expect to be this cat's caretaker. After he finished eating, Midnight can tell that something was bothering me. I told Midnight about my run-in with some villagers. Even though I saved their lives, the people thought I was nothing but a monster.
Don't worry about it too much, Fozo. The world will come around eventually.
I thanked them for the words of encouragement and decided to go in my house and rest for the night. On days 27 and 29, I ventured out into the world, trying to find any clue for the second cursed item. I continued looking until a zombie suddenly tried to attack me. I dodged the attack and saw that it was a cursed zombie being led by one of Shoko's cultists.
Capture Warden.
You don't have to do this. I don't want to fight.
Too bad, Warden. It can't hear you. They only listen to us and Shoko.
The zombies came at me, and I started to take them down one by one with my sword. The cultists then prowled around me while I got overwhelmed by them. Enough! I used my curse shout to take down the zombies, but I was tired from using all of my energy. The cultists then took this opportunity to hit me from behind. Ow! It knocked me to the ground. Oh no, I'm gonna pass out.
Time to bring you to Shoko.
Ow, my head. Where am I?
Right where you need to be.
Shoko was right in front of me, and I realized that I was inside of a cage. What is this place? The warlock told me that I was home. Then I looked around and saw a prison that was full of wardens.
You see, Fozo, I tried to curse other mobs in order to fully control them, but they were just too weak. First spiders, then zombies. None of them did the job right, so I decided that the perfect mob to control was the strongest of them all, the Wardens.
So this was your plan all along? By using me, it will grant you all power over my entire species? I'm not gonna let you have your way. I used my cursed shout to break out of the cage and knock Shoko out of the way. I knew that I couldn't beat him right now, so I ran as fast as I could. I had a feeling he was not far behind me. The building then started to shake, and I knew that he wasn't happy. Oh no, I gotta get out of here now. On days 33 to 35, I made it back to base, and Midnight was standing outside waiting for me.
I heard you got captured by Shoko. Did he activate your curse?
No, I managed to escape him, and I found out what my curse really was. I also noticed that Alvis was at my base too. Hey, what are you doing here?
Shoko was able to find my tower and sent his cultists to destroy it. Now, I have no hope.
Don't worry, you're more than welcome to stay with us. I quickly collected more materials and got to work. I built Alvis a small house next to mine and made sure to make his new home look similar to his old one. Alvis went inside and thanked me for his new place.
Before my home was destroyed, I did manage to find the next location of the second cursed item.
He told me that he discovered what the second cursed item was. It was the cursed armor. He said that it was located in the ruins of unsolved mysteries.
You're going to need to find a portal to get there.
A portal? Okay. Alvis told me that it would would require diamonds to gain access. The ruins of unsolved mysteries, huh? Count me in.
Be careful, Fozo. We don't want you getting into trouble again.
Don't worry, Midnight. I'll be careful this time around. I promise. I left the base and went off to go search for some diamonds. I began my search and ventured across the world to find any caves that could have some. Eventually, I managed to find one and went inside. I couldn't see any diamonds at first, but as I went deeper in, I was able to find a few. Using my iron pickaxe, I mined them and had enough to craft myself a set of diamond tools. I made sure to save enough diamonds just in case I needed them to unlock the portal. Alvis told me that these portals were different from the regular Minecraft portals.
These portals have been here since the dawn of time. No one dared enter them for fear of the curses that lay waiting inside.
I was a little concerned about what could be waiting inside, but I knew that I needed to go there. It was the only chance for me to get rid of this curse. Eventually, I was able to find one, and it looked ancient and eerie looking. Oddly enough, I felt drawn to it though, like it was speaking to me. I pulled out the diamond and the portal immediately activated. Whoa, time to see what's inside. On days 39 to 41, I went through the portal and it led me to a strange dimension. I looked around and it seemed to be a prison. As I went further inside, I saw that it was infested with cursed mobs. Yep, this was definitely the ruins of unsolved mysteries. I had no choice but to fight my way through. I had to find the second cursed item. I charged in and started my assault. I used my diamond sword to take on a mob of the cursed mobs. Some other ones tried to hit me with their cursed attacks, but I dodged them. I kept going room after room, fighting off mob after mob. But when I cleared the rooms, I couldn't find the cursed armor anywhere. Where could it be? Eventually, I found myself in front of another portal that led to another area of ruins. I went through, and whoa, where was I? I saw a platform lifting itself up right in front of me. Time to go figure out where this leads. It took me down to another room, and as I slowly walked into it, I saw there was a giant monstrous eyeball staring right down at me.
Are you looking for the cursed armor?
Yes, I am actually.
Then you must beat me in battle to obtain it.
Fine by me. The fireball lunged at me and sent me across the room. I then used my diamond sword and continued slicing away at the eyeball's health bar. The eyeball was angry and knocked me back again. I mustered up all of the strength I had left and used my curse shout to defeat it. That was a close one. With it gone, it left behind the cursed armor. I equipped it and felt much stronger than before. And what's this? With it equipped, it looked like I had a new ability too. This could come in handy. I also received 5 more hearts. Finally, time to return to Alvis. I went through the portal and returned to the overworld with my new items in hand. It wasn't easy, but it was worth getting the cursed armor. I was that much closer to defeating Shoko.
Look, it's the Cursed Warden!
A group of cultists then surrounded me outside of the portal. Good. This was the perfect opportunity to test my new upgrades. A cultist came running at me and struck me with a sword, but I didn't receive any damage. I countered the cultist's attack and defeated him with my diamond sword. I then tested out the new ability that the armor granted me, and it shot out a tentacle at the cultist. Whoa. All that's left is you now. You still want to fight? The cultist was too scared and ran away. That's what I thought. I left the area and made my way back to base.
Where is the Cursed Warden?
The Warden has become too strong for us. I think he's collecting the cursed items.
Then it looks like I'll need stronger henchmen. Find the Cursed Warden and bring him back to me!
Yes, Master.
Shoko.
On days 45 to 47, I was on my way back to base when suddenly a large monster flew into me and knocked me down. I got up and the monster was floating above me.
Warden, you're coming
With me.
The monster called himself Feaster, and he told me that Shoko has sent him to come and get me. Sorry, but I'm not going back to Shoko.
Good. I wanted you to decline.
The monster hit me with a blast of energy and sent me down to the ground. I used my tentacle weapon to fling myself into it, but it barely did any damage. Feaster then hit me with another blast, and I lost half of my hearts. I couldn't beat that thing right now. The monster flew in at me, but I pulled out the cursed orb and stunned him. I used the opportunity to use my tentacle weapon and fling myself away from him.
Run all you want, Warden.
I will find you.
I used my tentacle weapon again and pulled myself back into the base.
Whoa, What was that?
I told Midnight that it was a perk with my new armor that I got.
This is great. You're really making progress on the cursed items.
He's right, Fozo. Pretty soon, Shoko will be no match for you.
It looks like those two were getting along, and I was happy to see that.
Yeah, those cultists should be afraid of you.
I hope so, because this latest minion was a lot more challenging than the last ones. I gathered more materials and started building a large wall around the base. Once I was finished, I was a little relieved about building it. Hopefully, this would protect us from any danger. Alvison came over and told me that he was able to find the third cursed item, but warned me that this would be the hardest one to obtain. It may seem impossible, but I had to try. Alvis believed in me and gave me the location of the item. On days 51 and 53, I went off to the location. Alvis told me that the item was a cursed sword that would make me 10 times stronger. I found myself in front of a temple and prepared myself for what's to come. I went inside and it was surprisingly quiet. I walked further inside and the place seemed to be abandoned. There was a beacon of light shining in the middle of the area and I walked towards it. The cursed sword was there, and as I got closer, I heard echoes and creepy whispers. Suddenly, there was a large flash of light, and I was completely blinded. Ah! My vision began to clear, and instead of being in the temple, I found myself in the middle of a destroyed village. Where am I? Suddenly, I could hear the sound of screams, and I turned to see an army of cursed wardens destroying the village.
Yes! Destroy them! Destroy them all!
What is going on? This is what will happen if Shoko succeeds. I ran in and confronted the wardens. Stop! You don't need to do this! The wardens then turned their attentions towards me and began to charge, overwhelming me. No! I found myself back in the temple with the cursed sword right in front of me. I then walked over and picked it up. I can feel that my strength had greatly increased, and I gained 5 more hearts. I left the temple, vowing that I would use these cursed items to stop Shoko. As I continued heading back to base, I saw a village that was being attacked by Shoko's cursed mobs. Some were attacking the villagers. I need to go save them. I ran in and used my new cursed sword to slice down the zombies and easily kill them.
Must obey Shadow.
Capture Warden.
The zombies started coming towards me, and I knew that it was time to see what this cursed sword could really do. I pointed the swords at the zombies, and it suddenly started firing other swords at them. This sword was awesome. I continued using the cursed sword on the zombies until eventually none of them were left. The villagers were shocked that I was protecting them since I was a cursed creature too. I noticed that some of their houses were destroyed, so I worked with some of them to rebuild them. The villagers are safe and their homes were restored, so I decided it was time to leave and avoid any trouble. One of the villagers stopped me, and I was prepared for him to call me a monster. Thank you for saving our village. You're not a monster. You're a hero. The villagers all began to cheer and praise me. Man, that felt great. I then continued my journey back to base. On days 57 to 59, I returned to base, and Midnight was there waiting for me. He asked me about the cursed sword, and I told him that I was able to retrieve it and use it to gain the villagers' trust.
Good. I'm glad to hear that the villagers don't see you as an outcast.
You're right, Midnight. I was glad that people were starting to see that it doesn't matter who you are on the outside, but on the inside. Midnight agreed with me, and we both believed that the world was starting to come around.
So, you finally have all 3 of the cursed items.
That's right, Elvis. I finally have all 3 of the cursed items. You know what that means?
I do. Please be careful, Foso. Even though you have the items, Shoko is still a powerful warlock.
It doesn't matter. I'm much stronger than I was before, and I'm ready to go face Shoko.
Are you sure about this, Fozo? Shoko is really powerful.
I am sure. If I don't stop him, then you guys don't want to know what will happen. My 2 friends wished me luck, and I headed off to go and beat Shoko. I finally arrived at Shoko's base, ready to face off against the warlock and stop him from unleashing my curse. I stood in front of his doors and used my curse shout to blast them open. Shoko, come out and face me.
So you finally returned, Cursed Warden. Are you ready to give yourself up?
I can tell that he was intimidated by my presence. He must know that I've collected the cursed items. I'm not giving up anything. You're going down. I used my curse shout and pushed the warlock away. I didn't give him time to recover and used my tentacle weapon to fling myself towards him and hit him again. I won't let you have your way. I was actually putting up a fight against him. I can do this. Suddenly, Shoko lifted lifted me into the air. Wait, what's happening?
Did you actually think that could beat me?
He then blasted me with a bolt of lightning, and I didn't have many hearts left.
Even with your cursed items, you're still too weak to beat me.
He was right. I still can't beat him. I couldn't let him activate my curse. I got back up and sent Shoko away with a cursed shout. Then I quickly ran out of his base, confused. On days 63 to 65, I returned to base, feeling defeated. I still can't believe that I can't beat Shoko. How? I needed answers. Alvis must know why. I went over to his house, but he was nowhere to be found. Midnight, do you know where Alvis is?
He told me that he went to go clear his mind.
Midnight asked if I was all right, and I told him, how could I be? I collected the cursed items and I still couldn't beat Shoko.
Don't beat yourself up too much. Maybe there's still something that you're missing.
Yeah, maybe. I continued looking for the wizard until I eventually found him looking out into the night sky. He asked me if I was able to defeat Shoko, and I told him that I was nowhere close to defeating him, even with all the cursed items.
I feared as much. There's actually a fourth cursed item.
Why didn't you tell me this before? Alvis said that he didn't want to bring it up because the cursed item was too dangerous.
Those who are deemed unworthy of the heart become brainwashed and turn completely hostile.
So the fourth item is a cursed heart? But this could be my only shot at defeating Shoko. I have to try. Alvis reluctantly understood and gave me the cursed heart's location. Alvis told me that the heart was located inside of a city. I went inside of an entrance and it was in front of a large one filled with dark colored blocks. This city looks very familiar. Wait a minute. I was inside of an ancient city, the home of the wardens. Why would the heart be here? As I walked through, I wondered where all of my species were. I swear, once I defeat Shoko, I'll be sure to free them and return them back to where they belong. I continued venturing through the city until I came across a chest. I decided to loot it and I found a set of wooden tools. Sweet. I eventually made it to the center of the city and was in front of a large temple towering over me. Something was strange about the portal. It looked like the same color as my cursed items. Why is that? I walked up to it and it suddenly ignited. The entire portal was activated. I was startled at first, but I knew that I needed to get that cursed heart. I walked through the portal and prepared myself for what's to come. On days 69 to 71, I was inside of the ancient portal and found myself in a dimension completely covered in my cursed color. I looked around and saw the cursed heart at the center of everything. I walked over to it when a strange figure appeared in front of it.
Where do you think you're going?
It was a cursed warden, but not just any cursed warden. It was me. I calmed down and told the clone to step aside. I'm taking that heart.
You're gonna have to go through me to get it.
The clone used a curse shout and sent me away from him. I guess I'm gonna have to fight myself. I used my tentacle weapon to pull myself towards the clone, but he was ready and moved far away from me. Why are you fighting me?
I am a version of you who is in complete control of Shoko. Must obey his orders.
The clone then used his tentacle weapon on me and pushed me back.
You can't beat me. I am you. I know your every move.
We'll see about that. I pulled out my cursed orb and used it to stun the clone. Then I pulled out my cursed sword and shot him with a lot of other swords, finally defeating him. I guess I had to prove that I was stronger. I walked over and collected the cursed heart. I felt a lot of power that was stored within it. Time to get this back to Alvis. Fast. I made it back to base and went over to visit Alvis's house. The wizard was glad to see that I was safe.
Good. You were able to retrieve it.
That's right. I pulled out the cursed heart and Midnight was disgusted by it.
Ew! What is that?
Alvis told Midnight that the cursed heart was going to make me much stronger. He didn't like the idea at first.
I don't know about all of this. You sure this won't change, Fozo?
Alvis wasn't, but I told him that we have to go through with this. It's the only way I can beat Shoko. I gave Alvis the heart. What's the next step?
Now, we must build a giant cauldron and place the heart and yourself inside it.
He said that once I put myself and the cursed heart inside of the cauldron, I would be able to upgrade myself into my new cursed form.
This heart will grant you enormous power, but first, we need the materials to build it.
I agreed with Alvis and left the base in search of the materials. On days 75 to 77, I journeyed throughout the world looking for resources that can help me build the cauldron. I managed to find myself in a cave not far from the base. It was full of iron, the perfect material to make the cauldron. I used my warden pickaxe and mined as much of the iron as I could find. There, that should be enough to make it. I then walked out of the cave and then immediately jumped away from an incoming energy blast and saw Feaster was here.
I told you I would find you, Cursed Warden. It's time to go see Shoko.
I don't think so. I used my cursed shout on Feaster and brought him down to the ground. I then used my cursed sword to blast the monster away. Feaster swooped in and used his energy blast to knock me away. I knew this was gonna be tough, but I had to beat him. I got up and used my tentacle weapon to bring myself to Feaster. The monster was greatly weakened, and I used that opportunity to hit him with my cursed shout, finally defeating him. Now that he was taken care of, I left the cave entrance and headed back to base. I arrived and told Albus and Midnight that I finally took down Feaster.
Good riddance to that monster. Now you're that much closer to beating Shoko.
Thanks, buddy. I hope so too.
You are, Fozo. All we need to do now is prepare the cauldron.
Agreed. The two of us entered his house, and we both got to work on the cauldron. We used all of the iron that I collected, and was able to make a nice, huge cauldron under Albus's house. The cauldron was big enough to fit at least a few wardens in there. Now what do we do?
You need to go and rest up. You're going to need all your strength and energy for this.
Why can't we do this now? Who knows what Shoko's up to?
You heard Albus. If you want to survive this spell, you'll need all of your strength. Now go to bed.
I didn't want to at first, but I knew that my friends were right. I reluctantly left Albus's house and went into my own. Then I went to bed and rested for the night. On days 81 to 85, I immediately woke up to the sound of explosions. What is going on? I ran out of my house to see that Shoko was there and he was destroying my base.
Come out, Warden. I know you're here.
I won't let you take him.
Albus shot a spell at Shoko, but it didn't affect him at all.
Ha! Your magic is weak compared to mine, Albus.
Shoko then lifted Albus into the sky and flung him right through his house. I ran towards him and used my tentacle weapon to knock him away. The warlock was completely unfazed and blasted me with a spell. Shoko continued destroying the base, and I was surrounded by nothing but fire. My home!
Leave my friend alone.
Midnight jumped at Shoko, but he blasted the cat with a spell that severely wounded him. No! He hit me with a spell that made me feel really weak. Oh, my strength is gone. The warlock then lifted me into the air and we floated away from my base. All I could do was watch as my home burned down to the ground. We returned to his base and I was strapped onto a table that had a ritual circle around it. Shoko stood over me.
All that effort you've made, all that work that you put into making yourself stronger was all for nothing.
I tried to break myself from the restraints, but I was still dealing with the after effects of his spell.
Now, it is time to begin the ritual.
The warlock began to start his chanting, and my body began to glow. Ah! Please stop! Shoko continued chanting and released a large amount of energy that covered the entire room. Suddenly, the base began to shake, and the wardens were completely under Shoko's control. No! My curse was fully activated. I forced myself off of the table, and I knew that I couldn't fight Shoko and his warden army. I made a break for the exit, but Shoko's cultists stood in my way. I used my shout to easily destroy them and leave the base.
Let him go. He's not even worth my time anymore. Now, it's time to begin my conquest.
On days 91 and 94, I made it back to base and it was completely in ruins. I called out to Midnight and Albus, wondering if they were still here. Guys, where are you?
Over here.
I went to Albus's house to find the wizard standing next to a table where Midnight was resting. I'm so sorry, guys. Shoko, he succeeded. He activated my curse. Now all the wardens are under his control. The world is doomed.
It's not too late, Fozo.
Midnight! I ran over to my friend, and Albus told me that he wasn't gonna make it.
It's too late for me, but not for you.
What? You gotta pull through.
You can save the world, Fozo. I know you can do it.
No! How am I supposed to defeat him? He has an army of wardens now. Albus told me that there was still a way and pointed to the giant cauldron.
It's the only way to beat Shoko. It's what Midnight would have wanted.
Albus, he was right. To honor my friend, I needed to beat Shoko and end this madness. I jumped inside, and Albus tossed in the cursed heart. The wizard began his spell, and a purple light illuminated the house. Suddenly, there was a large flash, and I hopped out of the cauldron, feeling better, faster, and stronger. I even had more health.
The spell is finished, and you are ready to beat Shoko.
Thank you, Albus, for everything. I made it out of the base and could see a large smoke cloud in the distance. Get ready, Shoko. Your days are numbered.
I followed the smoke cloud. The wardens needed to be stopped, and I was the only one who could do it. I saw that they were destroying the entire world. A warden was about to kill a villager, but I ran in and saved him from the attack. Get somewhere safe, now! I used my cursed sword to take down the attacking warden, and the next one tried to use a shout, but I stunned him with my cursed orb. Then, I used my tentacle weapon to lunge myself into him and took him out. I finally reached the castle and saw Shoko commanding the wardens to destroy everything. Stop this!
Not a chance, Fozo! Wardens, get rid of this weakling!
The wardens all came rushing at me, but I used my curse shout to mow down the group. More of them started showing up, and I felt like I was going nowhere. Suddenly, all of the wardens stopped moving, and I turned around to see that Alvis had arrived.
I'll hold them off. Go get Shoko.
Thank you. Be careful. I left my friend and went off to face Shoko. On day 100, I finally reached Shoko at the end of the kingdom. It's the end of the line. You have nowhere to run.
Run, you fool! I led you here to end you once and for all!
The only thing that's gonna end is your madness. We began our fight, and Shoko then lifted me up in the air. Before he could attack, I used my cursed sword to rain a bunch of swords down on him. I then used my tentacle to fling towards him and knocked him away. That didn't make him happy because he countered with a large energy blast.
You foolish warden! You'll never be able to beat me!
We'll see about that. I charged at Shoko, and he blasted me again, but I fought through the pain and sliced him with my sword. I'm going to make you pay for what you've done to my friends. I pulled out the cursed orb and greatly damaged the warlock. He was stunned and couldn't believe what was happening to him.
No, this can't be!
This is for midnight. I used all of my energy and hit Shoko with a cursed shout, ending him and his control over the wardens.